Hi. So I am officially now Dr. J. I finished my dissertation defense and it was approved by my committee. They signed my PhD form, so now I just need to submit that to graduate studies along with my dissertation, and it will be finished. I can leave UCI and go off and do my work and whatnot, but first and foremost, I'm taking a little bit of time off. Um, just a little bit of commentary about my dissertation defense. It was, from what everybody was telling me, like one of the best talks that I've ever given, which is nice that I was able to kind of pull it together and give the talk that I needed to give for my big day. So that was nice. And it was weird. I always get so terrified of public speaking. I mean, it's debilitating. I can barely get the words out when I do. They're either really quiet or really fast. And it's just been a tremendous uphill battle trying to hone my public speaking skills, in preparation for this pinnacle moment where I have to present everything that I know to the public, for the defense of the dissertation that I'd been working on for such a long time. And honestly, on Monday, my defense was on Wednesday. The Monday before that, 2 days before that, I gave a practice talk just to my lab in the room to kind of get used to the acoustics and the projector and where, the screen and whatnot and where I was going to be standing. And I was so terrified for that. And on the actual day of my defense, I mean, even like 5 minutes before, no butterflies. I wasn't nervous. And it was kind of weird. I was just kind of like shocked. Like, why am I not nervous? Why am I not nervous? I think a lot of it had to do with I actually had a friend come into town the night before. And it was something we'd kind of, we had talked about and we planned, hey, going to be swinging through town, let's hang out. And I was like, okay, that'll be cool. I'll, keep my mind off stuff. But as it got closer and I was starting to kind of freak out and panic about my defense, I was like, I don't know if this is such a good idea, to have someone coming over and hanging out, the day before my defense. I should be sitting here looking at my talk and practicing it over and over again and thinking of, ways to answer questions and all that stuff. And I don't know, I kept, people kept saying, not knowing what I had planned, but they're just like, why don't you just take the day before and do something totally unrelated to your dissertation? Just relax, don't think about it, get your mind on something else. And as much as I was like, okay, that sounds like a good idea, sure, I was like, no way, I'm going to be freaking out. I need to sit there and prepare and cram as much as I can into my head. And that's what I always do before I give any big talk, before I had my qualifying exam 2 years prior, or, just any talk that I've ever had to give to a broader audience than my lab, even my lab itself. I sit there and I'll stay up all night just cramming stuff in my head, making sure I'm prepared. But then when I give the talk, it's like, okay, I know my stuff, but I don't present it very well because I'm just like, I'm fatigued and stressed and just, anyways, so, this friend of mine came down and we went to this lecture that, it was a neuroscience lecture, but it was about music and the mind and the evolution of, or how he thought the evolution of music versus speech and all that stuff evolved throughout human history and across different species. And, it was fairly interesting, and it kind of got my mind off of my work. Although during the talk I was kind of thinking about his presentation and like, oh, maybe I should do this, so it was not completely shut off. Afterwards, we were just kind of hanging out, me and my friend, and, just talking about just whatever, just chit-chatting and just hanging out and having, in-depth conversations about different things in our lives. And human existence, and I totally wasn't even thinking about my dissertation or my defense, which was the next day. I'd have these brief moments where I'd be like, "Whoa, I can't believe my defense is tomorrow," and just thinking, okay, whatever. So, I went to sleep, and I kind of had a hard time falling asleep. My mind was I was actually kind of just feeling this natural high from having these really cool conversations with my friend. And so as I'm trying to fall asleep, I felt like really euphoric. So much so that I was having a hard time falling asleep. But I eventually fell asleep, and I had some kind of interesting dreams. And then, but I felt rested. I woke up on my own without I'd set my alarm for like 8, and I woke up at 7:30. Went up and grabbed my phone, was like, okay, woke up early, ready to go, and I felt very well rested. And surprisingly not nervous, not freaking out. And so, even up to like, my defense was at 1, and I didn't start getting ready until like 11:30. And, up until 11:30, just not even thinking about it. It was surreal. I would think about it and be like, okay, my defense is in like, I kept looking at the clock. All right, a few more hours, a few more hours. It was like a countdown. And normally that countdown, I'm just so terrified. And I wasn't. I was so relaxed. I couldn't believe it. It was, I don't know how many times I can say this, but it was just amazing to me. It's never happened to me before. So I got dressed, I got ready, I decided to walk over to the room, in my suit, with my backpack on my back, walked over to the room, got there about an hour beforehand, got everything set up, make sure it worked. And I'm sitting in the room, waiting. I have my computer set up, the projector's ready to go, and another one of my friends comes in to sit down with me and talk to me beforehand. She had gotten there a little bit early, and I was just telling her, I wasn't that nervous as I usually am, and I was feeling very, for lack of a better word, high. Just kind of lightheaded, but still kind of focused, just ready. I felt ready. And I got a little bit of butterflies about 5 minutes before. But it wasn't as debilitating as it usually is. Typically I'll be standing up there and I'm shaking so bad I feel like I'm going to fall over. And as I'm talking, I can just hear my voice shaking. And it didn't happen. I gave my talk, and I wasn't fast. I think I kept it at an even speed. At least that's what people were telling me. And I got done with it, and I felt, happy. I felt happy that it went as well as it did. But after it was all over, I went downstairs for the reception, and I felt like my brain was melting. I didn't even want to celebrate. I wanted to just crawl into a hole and sleep for about 5 years. I was trying, to talk to people. Everybody was there to celebrate, this pinnacle moment in my life, and I could barely hold a conversation with people. My brain was just like, it was fried. And so it's been a couple days. Today's Sunday, and my defense was on Wednesday. So it's been a couple days, and each night I sleep more and more. And every day I wake up and I feel more rested and more together. So it's been a while since I've had that. And I had a really nice day with my mother today. I had hung out with my dad and my stepmom and my siblings, who were all in town from Seattle, for the few days after my defense. We went to Disneyland and spent some time at the beach. And then they went home. And so now I'm at my mom's house, spending time with her and my brothers. And I don't know, I feel great. I'm enjoying every moment, it seems. I don't have to worry. I don't have all this stuff in the back of my mind. It's great. I'm starting to feel this sense of release that I didn't feel immediately upon finishing. But I'm starting to get that feeling of relief now. So just wanted to let you have a little peek into my post-defense mentality.